Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I got the Landslide XTE. I'm going to do some upgrades today on it with the center differential oil, probably the front and rear differential oil, and the shock oil. So about 4 runs into this thing and just kind of want to get everything situated, make it run a little bit better. It runs great out the box, but it's a little sloppy in certain areas with, in regards to the differential oils and the shock oils. So we're going to go ahead and address that, take a look at that, and also show some access to the differentials and see how easy it is to get to them and access them, and if there's any troubles, and get a chance to take a look at this diff as well. So alright, let's get started. First off, let me show you what I found playing around with this the other day. Obviously it was the same posts, but the Terramoto body fits, perfectly, like it belongs. Obviously it's the same chassis. Now the rear posts, if I did have to have the holes in, would be about here. So if you wanted to get this SUV look, or even the truck Terramoto look, it's going to fit perfectly and flawlessly on this chassis, just like it would as the Terramoto, and it's going to look good, because obviously this is my favorite body and one that I'll probably never change for the truck. Most trucks I get, I'll get a different custom body, something like that. The Terramoto body, I love the SUV look, is what first attracted me to Redcat in general. Of course I couldn't get it at the time, but finally got it, and it's one of them trucks that I just love. So I love that look. So I may eventually do the truck version just for this, just to have that look. But it's nice to know that it will fit for people looking for body options. These are available in clear, and pick them up for pretty cheap. Alright, so the one thing I do want to address as far as upgrades go, we're going to remove this plate and tighten these screws down. We'll put some thread lock on these because they seem to back out a little bit. Just want to get them. Plus, we'll pop this plate off and just want to take a look at the servo saver and see how close it is to the one that's on the Earthquake. Alright, so there is the design. I'm not sure it would work with the Earthquake or anything, but it's more of a angled, more of a straight angle, I should say, whereas the Earthquake's got that slight bend. But it is definitely flat also, whereas the Earthquake kind of comes up. So I think it's, by design, I don't think you're going to be able to pop that in, because I know it needs to have that angle in the Earthquake. So again, that's just for me, something I wanted to look at while I had this open. If you guys have any issues while we're in here, this is the nut that you want to tighten down for your servo saver. So you tighten that down a little bit to the right if it gets loose, and that's going to keep your servo saver from being able to separate under pressure. So of course you don't want to, the point of the servo saver is to be able to separate a little bit, but if you got too much play, that's going to be the nut that you want to tighten down. Alright, so I'm going to leave that off because I am going to access this differential, so I'll probably need it off anyway. So that's off. Really want to get to this center, so I'm going to start here first, and then we'll work our way up. Alright, so it looks like 5 screws. Alright, so you see what these 5 took off. Well, this one screw exposes the gear. So let's see what we got. Looks like it's a 13. So it's a 13 tooth pinion that comes stock on this, and we give it one more count. Yeah, so 13 tooth pinion. So I'll probably take this to a 14, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know if I'm going to do it right now or not. Well, those 4 screws that I finished taking off exposed the diff gear. So we're going to pop this motor off, which looks like it just mounts right here, and then try to get full access to that diff gear. So far, I've only taken off the screws that we've had to expose this, and it seemed to work out. Man, I hate not being able to get in flat. using an Allen key because I do not want, with this stuff right here, it makes it a little hard to access that, and I don't have a ball tip on this, and I don't really, I mean, I like them to a degree. I like them for this situation where it's a mild angle, but sometimes the angle's a little too great and they'll wind up stripping out a head really quick. So I just want to take this out a little bit and get it going, take the pressure off of it, and then I'll take it out the rest of the way with the other one. Alright, the pinion's got to come off first. Alright, so there we have the 1920, which, I mean, this is it's a nice little motor, man. I'm very pleased with this motor and the performance. It's a lower kV, but it's got a lot of punch for this truck, and I'm imagining it would probably have some nice up gear too. So if I, wasn't running huge tires and wanted to put, like Terramoto 10 tires on this thing and run this thing, like a Terramoto 10, basically, it would definitely have some up gear on it with this higher torque motor. But I don't think I'm going that route. I'm going to be going bigger tires, if anything, but we're right around the same, which is probably what I wind up doing anyway with the IMAX. But I may eventually, this motor may end up in the shredder version 2. Same can length, it's just 1920 versus the 1300 that comes in that, and this should give it a nice boost. I'm running on 4S, and then I'll find something to put in this. Alright, I'm just kind of taking a look at it, making sure what I need to take off for the center. That all the drive shafts run underneath these parts, which means I'm probably going to have to pop some screws off the bottom to make this easy. I think once I do, it will give this some more flex. Especially, at least if I do it on one side. But I might have to drop that whole motor mount, which doesn't look like it's many screws. And boy, they don't leave much room at all there for that. Look how close my battery tray is. Actually looks like it's been rubbing up against it. Like I got a couple damaged teeth on this Spur already. Now that that is probably from the smack right there. That's probably when that thing hit that post, because it was, I mean, it was full speed and then stopped, and it had a sound. I mean, it definitely did. I was shocked it didn't break anything, but I'm betting that's what it did right there. That's my damage from that day. Good, you can see it in there. So maybe postponing this video because I'm going to need a Spur. But in the meantime, we're going to get it off and take a look. It might be something that is already being used. I'll at least get it off my hand and take a look at it, and then probably maybe I'll do the front and rear and get them done a while. And I can put the oil and stuff in this and just set it off to the side. I just can't put my bevel back, or my Spur back on. Let me continue on, like I said, and I'll figure it out as I go. I'm not going to stop now. So it looks like these 4 and these 2. If you're using a drill to take this stuff out, which, like I said, I've talked about that before, it's fine to do, take it out. Just make sure you're in there, because like right now there's dirt in here, and if I go to put this in here, the dirt is going to not allow me to get all the way down. And it might feel like I'm down, but it's not. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to wind up stripping out the top of this screw head, and these screws aren't going to come out. So I'm going to take a paper clip or something to get in there and kind of clean that out. Be careful if you flip this thing over, these tend to fall out and you don't want to lose them. That's your bushing. It's going to keep that from wobbling too much in there. Alright, so what do I have to do here? Be careful if you flip this thing over, these tend to fall out and you don't want to lose them. That's your bushing. It's going to keep that from wobbling too much in there. Alright, so what do I have to do here? So it looks like this, just from what I'm seeing right now. Looks like this is keeping this from lifting up. So we're going to remove these two screws as well. I'll drop that now. Alright, so that seems to be all we have to do to get to that. I'll probably have to do this like 10 more times. Shaft does not look like it comes out. And yes, I got it turned. Really? That's weird. So I guess if you're replacing this shaft, we are going to have to remove those screws. I'll drop that now. Alright, so that seems to be all we have to do to get to that. I'll probably have to do this like 10 more times. Shaft does not look like it comes out. And yes, I got it turned. Really? That's weird. So I guess if you're replacing this shaft, we are going to have to remove those screws. Alright, so I got the gear off. I'm not sure if you can see where it is eating up or not. It's eating up right here on this half of the teeth. So, alright, so what I found out, this is a 52 Spur. Now, the Earthquake has this one, which is a 49 tooth. Same exact thickness. Everything's the exact same except for the drive cups. Drive cups are shorter and thicker. So these will actually hold up better than the Earthquake ones. As you can see, the thickness of the lip. So with that being said, I am going to have a Spur gear fresh. So I'm going to go down to a 49, which again was going to do two things for me. It's actually going to give me some room right here, which it looked like my Spur was literally right up against that when I took it off. I don't remember if I showed that or not, but it was right up against it, so I didn't like that at all. Now a 49 is going to be just a slightly smaller diameter, but it's also going to allow me to go up, roughly 2 teeth and basically be almost at the same gearing, roughly. Again, there's a little bit that goes into that, but so if I take this up now to a 15 with the 46, I'm going to, tone this truck down probably a little bit on the torque, but yet also open it up some, and still should have plenty of torque to run this truck. And what that also does is it gives me a steel spur option, which gives us a steel spur option. This right here is a big plus for me, because now I know the 49 tooth will work with this. Let me get started on this. I'm going to disassemble this real quick and fill it, and we're going to test the spur gears on there and see how they work. Kind of want to make sure everything lines up before I get too far into this. as you can see, it's probably a black gear grease that just kind of turns to like a mush and an oily little residue once it's been burned up a little bit. But really nothing to that. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to pack some 200K in here, try to let it set down and get all the air bubbles out if I can. So I'm going to get going on that. I'm going to get this cleaned out a little bit the best I can. I'm not going to clean most of that out. There's not a ton in there. It's not a ton in there. I mean, I'm not even going to hassle with pulling this out because there's hardly any in there. So I'm just going to pack it with my 200 and get going on the other stuff. That way it can set for a while. I forgot how slow this was. Alright, so I'm going to let this set. Even though it's piled off, it will seep down. It's just going to take a while, longer than I want to sit here and hassle with it. So identical. So we'll be opening up again. We'll be doing all this again, as far as putting on this gear. So I will be doing the steel one myself. But for today, we're going to put the regular motor back in, since I'm going to have to open it up again anyway. And there's no chance of me upgrading the motor right now, just because I know I'm going to have to open it up again. So leave me something to test out and get some feedback from. This being 200K oil and some of the diff oil and the shock oil, I'll get a feedback from that first, and then we'll worry about that. I've already went through. I've turned this. It's settled down. Might be able to put a little more on top of that now. Once you give it a little turn like that, just make sure it all feeds down in there. It's pretty good in there. I mean, this gear is going to sit down. I'm going to roll with that because this sits down in there. Usually I get a lot that squishes out because I tend to overfill them just a tad. You really want to make sure that you're lined up here. Just like a lug wrench, guys, putting on a car or tire, make sure you do a cross pattern with this. I'm not going to tighten this all the way down. Put the other one on the opposite. Nice smooth. It's got the slip that it needs. Very tough to turn, compared to the stock, which is a good thing. It's basically what we want. So this should also fit much better in between there and take care of my issue. So again, guys, pretty soon this will be the steel 49 tooth. I'll have them listed for this Landslide, now that I know that fits this, and we'll have upgrades for that. So glad to know.